Good afternoon and welcome to the OOH-RAH Report. I am your host, Anthony Kevin, and today we are talking about AEW Dynamite. We are 1 week away from Beach Break, and this show does a really good job at not only building that show up for next week, but also building up Revolution, which will take place on March 7th. The show opens up fast, just like last week, as you have Eddie Kingston taking on Lance Archer. This is a brawl from the get-go, and it is just, it's just like, as I said with the match last week with Pac, it's so good and so fast and so high energy that it's a great way to open up the show. And I do think, there's no better way to open up the show probably than a really good tag match, which there are plenty of those on this show. But once again, really solid opener. And at the end of the match ends after Eddie takes a lot of punishment. Butcher and the Blade drag out Jake Roberts. He was not at ringside for this. And then as Lance Archer is distracted, Bunny slips in I'm assuming it's thing of coins, and loaded punch by Kingston, and he ends up winning. This feud I don't think is necessarily over, but I'm very interested to see where it goes from here. So after that, we get a little Moxley promo, and this is just great. Moxley does a really good job. He explains that he does not give a shit who's with who. All he knows is that next week he's going to get his hands on Kenny Omega. He likes the simple things, and that is beating up Kenny Omega. And then we go to commercial break. Right after the break, we get a Sting and Darby Allin promo. This is really answering the challenge for Revolution that was laid by Team Taz last week. And it didn't, I have to say, last week they didn't really do a good job at telling you what was going to happen and when and who was doing what in the next two big shows, which is Beach Break and Revolution. But they really do fix that here. And what the big news that coming out of that was, when the challenge was announced, most people just thought, oh, it's Darby versus Brian Cage in a street fight, and they were like, no. It came out later that it's going to be Brian Cage and the rest of Team Taz against Darby Allin and Sting, which a lot of people, including myself, got very excited and also a little confused, because yes, that's a good match, and I think that was it's the natural progression of the storyline, and I also think that with that being said, this should be a lot of fun. But I'm also curious to see what Sting can do. And the promo does, they both say, we're hooligans, and, they are going to, you're putting us in our element for this match. And I'm interested to see what Sting can do, because, it's been 5 years since he had his last proper match, and it was in a different company, which I hate to say has been shown to be somewhat safer than AEW at points. And I'm interested to see how much Sting can do. And yes, I know it's a street fight, and you can use it, and a street fight is good because you can actually, hide some imperfections you may get in a regular wrestling match. And I think that's what I said originally when Sting made his debut and he signed a contract to wrestle. I said you'll see him in more cinematic-esque matches to cover up the fact that he's retired. And because he still wants to fight, and I 100% respect that. And I'm interested to see this whole tag team match go down. And, I think as a street fight, this should be really fun to watch. And I'm really excited for Revolution, especially that and the stuff that gets announced later. So our next actual match is MJF and Jericho taking on the Varsity Blondes. And I have to say, the Varsity Blondes, since coming up from Dark, have really impressed me. I like these two. I'm excited to see what they can do in a full-time role on Dynamite. And I am excited to see them do some major storyline work later down the road. Not now. I think right now the tag division is way too busy with the Bucks as champion. I think once the Bucks lose the belts, I think that's a good spot for the Varsity Blondes to really start making more of a presence on the show, because they're really good. This match was a real fun ride. And, MJF and Jericho are MJF and Jericho. You know what you're getting there. And the Varsity Blondes did a phenomenal job working with them. And, it ends with Jericho hitting a lion salt and MJF. This is probably leading to them at some point down the line, hopefully winning the tag titles. I think that will be a nice way for MJF to finally turn and basically take the Inner Circle from him, except for Sammy Guevara, which even later in the night, Sammy confronts him and is like, "You're playing this game. I don't play games." And that I like the Inner Circle stuff, and I'm so glad they're doing it the way they are. It could have just been very easy to just make this MJF be a dick the whole way through, but no, they're making it They're doing a slow build, which AEW has been known for, is their slow build storytelling, and I really like the way this is starting to go. So, and then after that, Pac cuts a promo on, that he's not going for Moxley. Like he says, he's not going for Kenny. That's Moxley. He's going for the Good Brothers because they took out Penta El Zero. And him and Phoenix are going to give them pain. Oh, that main event next week is going to be, just read the names off that list. The Good Brothers, Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, Rey Fenix, and Pac. That by itself is a great, great match. And I'm really excited to see if you they'll give them like a 30-minute time slot to just go, and I'm excited to see that match next week at Beach Break. The whole show is something that a lot, including myself, a lot of people are looking forward to. So, and then right after that, you get all this good stuff, and then you get to a screeching halt with the Cody and Shaq storyline. I hate this thing, and I say it every week. I hate this. I hate the celebrity involvement, and they basically, the only good thing about this entire segment is, Shaq says, he'll go with Cody. I'll go with you. And it's a tag match because Shaq can't wrestle. As much as I hate it, Shaq can't wrestle. And Cody can't drag him to a good singles match, so it's a tag match. And Cody's like, it should be Brandy, but life gets in the way, so it's going to be Red Velvet. I knew that right away. Right away from when they made the announcement that the Cody and Brandy were having a baby. That it was going to be Red Velvet taking Brandy's spot. And alright, I'm okay with it. I think it's perfectly fine. It's suitable. And it's going to be a tag match. It's going to be at Revolution. The only good thing that I like about this is that you're giving it a possible end date. And I want that end date to come because I'm really tired of seeing Cody, who can... I know right now he's not going to do much because I feel like this storyline was good timing for him because he's not in like a really high-profile program. So if he has to... Because he's going to go away. He's going to leave for a while. He's really just doing this to promote his show, which I'm surprised there was not as many ads as there's been for his show. But at the end of the day, I get it. He's going to leave soon, and we're going to have to deal with it, which I'm okay with. Life takes priority over wrestling, always. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But I am happy at least that we know that this is going to possibly end at Revolution. And right after that, you get a really funny package with Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford, and Miro. Basically just cordially inviting you to their wedding next week. And it's so funny because it's all this lovey-dovey stuff, and Kip Sabian's talking about, how a good kisser he is and how he's good in bed and all that shit. And then Miro's just like, and I'm going to be there too, to kill everyone. And they just go through a package of him murdering people. It's like, and I'm going to bring Chuck, and just Chuck Taylor. It's just so miserable, and I love it. And this, if they didn't, you could have not had any of the actual matches that are going to happen next week at Beach Break. I am still hyped just to see this wedding, and I've never said that about a wrestling wedding before. I've seen a lot of them, and they're all usually, and they're all going to end the same way. It's going to be shenanigans, but just this the characters involved in this, best friends, Orange Cassidy, Miro, Kip Sabian, Penelope, they're all really good at what they do, and I'm really excited to see this wedding. And I know it's going to be this big thing, and Orange is just going to come and fuck it up, and I'm so excited to see just how that goes. And right then we immediately go into a great showing from Adam Page against Ray Nemeth, who actually, I had to look this up because I looked at him and I was like, he looks familiar. And turns out, I will gladly check it again, but he looks like Dolph Ziggler to a T. I believe they are brothers. I will fact check that. But, it was a good match. These guys are good. And Paige wins. Paige then gets courted by Matt Hardy to be part of the Hardy brand. And I'm interested about this because I like the idea. I think, also I like what Matt's doing now that he's not, that he's basically become a part-timer. He's not a full-time wrestler anymore. But I like that he's using Private Party as kind of leverage. At this point, he's like, look what I did for Private Party. I got them a tag team title match in Impact. And he's like, I can do the same for you. And I think it should be the same answer as, Paige should give the same answer he gave to the Dark Order. I'm not good in groups. I'm not going to do this. But I am interested to see how the Dark Order gets involved in this, because I feel like they will. I feel like, I really want, it may just be me being an optimist, but I really want to see Hangman in the Dark Order, and I want to see the Dark Order in general do well. They deserve it, and I like that they've become faces in the process of, sadly, in the process of John Huber dying. But I would like to see them do more on television now. And I know there's not a real spot for them at the moment. But I hope that down the road, especially if they bring in Paige at some point and he doesn't go to Matt Hardy, that they do something with them. But once again, it's really just a wait and see game because the way the show is made, like there's like a really tight bubble of what's going on, and I think right now there's no place for them. So yeah, right after that, we get a singles match between Dax from FTR and Jungle Boy from Jurassic Express. Good match once again. The big story is that Tully Blanchard and the other member of FTR, Dax Harwood, and Dax Harwood's wrestling, and Crash, and they're handcuffed to Luchasaurus, which is funny. And then the whole match goes on, and then after, Jungle Boy wins, and we get a scuffle afterwards. Everybody gets hurt, and yeah, they're building up to a match down the road. I would like to see these guys go at Revolution. I think if you could stretch it to Revolution and get. Even if you do a 6-man, because you could do a 6-man with Tully, because Tully gets involved in this match at the end. He actually gets a move in, and I'm not saying you need him to go, but I think him and Marty Scrunt will be a good adding to this. So I'm excited to see where this match goes. And after commercial break, we got Taz responding as they beat up some guys selling Sting and Darby merchandise to sell their point. And we go right after that into another match with Britt Baker taking on Sharina. And this is just building up the women. And, this whole match was good. Britt wins. Thunder Rosa comes in. Their match is also next week at Beach Break, which is something I've been looking forward to for a while. And we also get they allude to the fact that we will be seeing a number 1 contender tournament for the women's championship. And we get some announcements after that too, which really do help drive the point home of not only Revolution but also Beach Break and also Revolution. And they announced a tag team battle royale, which looks exciting, and also that the Young Bucks will be in it, and if they win, they get to pick their tag champs. I wonder why you're telling me that. And you get Britt versus Rosa, the main event of Kenny and the Good Brothers versus Mox, Pac, and Ray. That's really good. So that show's already stacked as hell, and you're excited for it. And then they also say that, they also show you Revolution, that the Darby match is happening, and that the winner of the tag tournament, the tag battle royal, will face the Young Bucks, or whoever faces the Young Bucks will be at Revolution. So that's another build to Revolution. And then on top of that, you get the first match announced for the women's championship tournament, which will be Serena D versus Riho. And yeah, that's the US side. They're not even talking about the Japanese side, because I think what they're going to do is they're going to do all the Japanese matches, pre-record them, and then you're going to span this out over hopefully a few months. I think you could stretch each of these out, because if you do, let's say one match on Dynamite a week, this can stretch for a while, hopefully until the world calms down and you can bring whoever the Japanese finalists are back to the United States to build the feud. And I'm excited. I think this, once again, I said it last week when they formally announced it, or 2 weeks ago when they formally announced this in tournament. This is a great way. This is what AEW women's division needs to be better, and to be on par with WWE's women's division and NXT's women's division in general. Like, they need this, and I'm really hoping that we're going to see some new stars come in. Like, they've been teasing Tessa Blanchard to come to AEW for a while. This would be the perfect point to get her and just strap the rocket to her and go. Yes, I know there's problems with that, but I think if you're going to do it, you do it right here. You do it in this tournament. And this tournament is exciting just because of the prospect of building up all of these new stars. So after that, we get the main event, which is the Dark Order taking on basically the Bullet Club. It's the Bucks and the Good Brothers. And for a guy who never saw the OG Bullet Club do their thing, I've seen, I saw the end of the original Bullet Club when Kenny was in New Japan, and now it's the Firing Squad. I've seen that. I've never seen Gallows, Anderson, and the Bucks wrestle together, and oh God, I'm excited, because just the chemistry between these four, doing 4-person moves together, is phenomenal. And the Dark Order's doing their own thing, they're doing their own shtick, which is great. But at the end of the day, this story is just the Good Brothers and the Bucks, and Kenny's trying to play peacekeeper. And at the end of the night, the Good Brothers win with the Bucks, and yeah, they look good. And I'm really excited to see what they do with it, because I really want to see Bullet Club come together and do this. And yeah, I know like Private Party will probably lose to the Good Brothers at Impact's next show. I know the Bucks will probably win next week in the Battle Royal by somehow, some way, and we're gonna get that clash at Revolution. I'm interested to see if it's for all the gold, and I'm wondering if they just do a swerve and you get just the Bullet Club reforming, and they're gonna run roughshod on both shows, which I want. I really want. I feel like that's the way you can do this. Yeah, at the end of the, by the way, at the end of the match, there's shenanigans and stuff, with Moxley, Phoenix, and that's basically the last plug you get for Beach Break. And yeah, no, speaking of which, this show was good. This was a really solid show. The only downside that I had was that, once again, some of the matches weren't, like one or two of the matches really had nothing going for it besides building up Beach Break, but the stuff that you did to build up Beach Break and to build up Revolution was great. So let me know, what are you guys mostly excited for Beach Break or even Revolution, going forward? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like and subscribe button. They do go a long way, and I will see you all next time here on the OOH-RAH Report.